Okay, so today I'm talking about. I came across this video about walking spirits, and that shit resonated so much, and it has me a bit uncomfortable, but it's a resonance of discomfort. And I'm starting to, okay, so the woman explained that walking soul or walking spirit, it's like the old version of yourself leaves, it expires from the vessel in some sort of way. Everyone's experience varies, of course. And then the new spirit, which is like how I perceive it, is like the reincarnation of, excuse me, you, the new version of yourself comes into the vessel. And I've had a few experiences as such. I wouldn't say that it was a near-death experience. However, when I came to, I felt like I had to really figure out what reality was. And I haven't really spoken about this, but it's like I still had the memories of the old version of myself, and the new version of myself, I was very assured. It was an assurity of her, with a bit of confusion as to, well, I still have memories of my old self, but it doesn't resonate anymore. And I know that she completely doesn't exist. And I was nervous to be around my own children because I didn't feel like their mother. I wasn't their mother. I had to sort of accept the role that, oh shit, I'm like, whatever's happening, whatever I accept as to what my reality is right now, they are still my responsibility nonetheless. And now I'm understanding, like, that's what the heart is coming from with me. That's what the discomforts are coming from with myself. It's like, oh man, like, okay, let me explain. Like, usually when people talk about reincarnation, it's like you die, a person, I guess in the mind, people envision it as an adult or even a child, a person that was alive. Of course, they die and they come back, their soul reincarnates into a new vessel through birth, through childbirth, and you live out a normal human life, meaning you were born and you experience childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, and by the grace of God or whoever you believe in your elderly years. But this walking spirit soul dynamic, you're literally walking into a vessel that has already been utilized, that has already come through a birth canal, but has had a past life, so to speak, as to being born, being in the womb of a woman, being born and having a childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, perhaps. And I wouldn't be surprised if children are going through this too. Like so you have memories, and you have to now adjust to this new entire life that you are now consciously aware of, and things are already set into place because the person that expired previously to you walking into that vessel already created a foundation for you. And it is like, again, I've never spoken about it to this extent until I seen that video, because I never thought about that. So, okay, let me go back. So in 2020, I had I'm sure along with a lot of other people, I had a huge, monumental spiritual awakening. And what catalyzed it was heartbreak. And after that, well, in the transition of that heartbreak, I was like setting things in stone. Like, I'm not tolerating this anymore. It's the same nonsense. You know, the carpet is always ripped from underneath my feet, whether it's love relationships, friendships, love relationships, friendships, family members, jobs. And I was just so tired of it. And I remember just constantly affirming that. Like, I am tired, I'm fed up, and I am not tolerating that nonsense anymore. And I think because I was so serious, I was tired. I was very tired and worn out. I couldn't even, like when I would come home from work, I didn't know up from down. You know, I had to fake it while I was at work in our industry. It was very hard for me. I used to walk from 98th Street. It's for my New Yorkers. I used to walk from 98th Street and Madison Avenue. I used to work at Mount Sinai Hospital during the pandemic. 98th Street and Madison Avenue. I would walk from there through Central Park to where I lived, which was 131st Street and Madison. And I needed it. I was going through it. I had to find the most natural ways to heal. And that was one of them. So, okay. Where was I going? Where was I at? So yeah, I affirmed not being able to tolerate the perpetual cycle that I was participating in. And I think I believe now that I affirmed it so much that walk-in dynamic happened to me. So in the fall of 2020, summer, fall, I was smoking weed, and I wasn't smoking a lot of weed, but I was ingesting a lot of edibles. And it was like every time I tried shrooms, I did shrooms or edibles, I was coming back more wiser, more conscious, and I love that. I started chasing that, but I didn't feel like I was chasing it. I was just truly aligned with it. So when I would take the edibles, the edibles were called Punch Out. Punch Out? Yeah, and it had like a fist. And it had 4 squares. And I would take, for like some real, if I wanted to like, what I felt like was like just escape, I would take 2. But I think they were 50 grams each. And they were strong. They were very strong. Oh my God. And it would knock me out. It was like, the name stood for itself. It would put me out, but it would put me out in a sense where I would just go to sleep. But I wasn't conscious of sleep to the point in which I felt like it wasn't sleep. It was like I was unconscious, but I was being repaired. You know, I felt it. I don't know how else to explain it, but the people that feel me, they feel me. I know you do. Like I was being healed while being unconscious of my reality. And so anyway, I would take the edible, and sometimes I would just knock out. But when I came back, it was like, I was like awakened, and I would literally rise up, and I'm like, I have to figure out left from right, up from down. What is it that I have to do? Like, I'll have to really sit there and like, what is it that I have to do with my life right now? And not just overall, like for the day, like, I had to keep reminding myself, you have children, you have to take care of them, you have to figure out a way to bond with them. Like, I really lost it. And now I'm realizing, like, I didn't lose it. The old version of myself expired. She couldn't take anymore. She took me as far as she needed to go in this life. And this new soul that you are looking at right now stepped in. And and even to this day, like, I still get a little shaken up, because I'm still trying to get to know my children. I do have fond memories of what she used to do, the mother she used to do with them, and how she cared for them. Like, she really set that foundation, and I'm forever grateful for that, because what she used to go through and what she wasn't given, it was hard for her to do that. It was hard for her to do that and love 2 people outside of herself. And that love still reflects through my children. So if I'm mourning her and mourning that aspect, I can only imagine how my children are mourning her. So, yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. It is not easy. I've even, the woman that I seen on the video, she spoke about how she forgot how to cook. And I haven't forgotten how to cook, but I've consciously chosen not to cook. No. I slowly forgot how to cook. I can cook, but there's things that I just the things that I used to cook before, that she used to cook before, I do not cook it at all. And I taught my son how to cook so that he can cook the things that he likes. My daughter is very picky, and she's an adult. But she's very picky. She's always been very picky about food, so she does her own thing, and they do things together when it comes to eating. And I'll cook here and there, but I don't really delve in that too much. And those are that along with mourning her, it's like, I know they miss that. We talk about the things we used to eat and the things I used to cook and things like that. But who I am now, I'm very conscious of what I eat. I'm not a vegan. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat exactly what I want. But if it upsets my body in any way, I'm very aware of my vessel. If it upsets my body in any way, I leave it alone. I can't I've been through the experience of eating fake foods. I come from the US, New York City. I've been eating the fake foods, the processed foods, and I know how it made me feel. And I remember manifesting this, the vessel that that is before you right now. I manifested this. I worked hard to get here, and I continue to work hard to keep this vessel as healthy as possible. I'm not opposed to the medical field. I'm not opposed to doctors. I believe that doctors are needed, but I do believe that the majority of doctors these days are heavily programmed and do not care about people, and they want people to subconsciously not care about themselves. So any little thing that happens, you must run to the doctor, and whatever they say is like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And even who I was before, I would go to the doctor, but it never resonated with me. They were like, oh, okay, take this, take that. And I'm like, no, I wanna know, why is it that, I remember one time, for example, stay with me. I had this thing in my eye, and it was reoccurring. It would go away and it would come back. And I remember going to the doctor, optometrist, and discussing that. Like, I've had it when I was younger, and I never said anything or did anything about it because it never bothered me. But now that it's back, it went away, and now that it's back, I'm concerned. Like, is this common? And why is it common? Like, what are the things that contributes to the growth of it? It was like a stone in my eye, an overgrowth, just under my eyelid. And she had no answers for me. And I always found that strange. Like, how is it that you're a doctor? Not saying that they're supposed to know everything, but she had zero answers for me, but she had a whole bunch of medications for me to try to get rid of it. And I'm like, nah, that doesn't resonate. That doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't resonate with me, and I'm not doing that. So, and she was adamant about it. She even seemed a bit offended that I kept declining the offer to take the medication. And I later learned, when I was in college, it was like a health statistics class or something like that. My professor taught us that the more prescriptions that they write and the more prescriptions that are written, they get paid. If the prescription is filled, they get paid. If they come back, they'll give you a prescription and say, okay, make an appointment for 60 days, 2 months. Make an appointment for 90 days, 3 months from now, or sometimes even 6 months. They'll even give you a 6-month supply of medication. Like, how crazy is that? And at first I used to think that it was because they wanted you to come back so that they know that you are in good standing health with the additional medication that you're ingesting. But that's not the case. It's, you're actually in getting the symptoms that the Band-Aid, which is the medication, has given you, contributed on top of the symptoms that you already had. And now we're going to recommend something else, or we're going to up the dosage, or we're going to keep you on that so that, your immune system seems to be strong. So we're going to keep you on that medication so the symptoms can actually have time to manifest. And then when you come back in 6 months, maybe even a year, then we can, you'll probably say, I'm having this problem. Now you need to see a nutritionist. Now you done gained 10 pounds and you don't understand why. Now your iron is low and that's contributing to other things. And now you feel a bit depressed, but you're not even conscious that you're depressed. But now they're going to tell you, they're going to plant that seed in your mind. Oh, it seems like you're depressed. Maybe you should see a therapist. I'm going to recommend you to this therapist. Or you have rashes. Now you need to see a dermatologist. And the dermatologist is like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with you. Here, take this steroid. I'm telling you. And people think I think even my children think I'm a little bonkers when it comes to that, but I see it. I've worked in the medical field and I've been a patient, and my daughter has been a consistent patient in the hospital, in one of the best top hospitals in New York City. And I could see the perpetuation of, this is what's wrong with you. This is what's wrong with you. But nobody is suggesting the real problem. Inflammation, which probably comes from your diet. So the patient needs to be educated on the best diet that's available and conducive to their overall well-being and the illness that they currently have. And also the environment, which is probably a number one factor. I know for a fact that in New York City, more male trees were planted rather than female trees, because the male trees are the ones who populate the environment in the spring.